Any questions on any of the homework problems? We good with all the homework assignments? Okay. I believe this is the one we left off on, or the one we finished with yesterday. Yes? Yeah. 23 and 24, I believe so, aren't too much different than the other ones. They just have a few more steps to them. Factoring our c cubed plus 8 and our c to the 6th minus 4c to the 5th plus 4c to the 4th. And these here all took a few more steps in factoring than the previous ones we did before. But other than that, it's exactly the same as the rest. We factor them and we cancel out what's in common. So the first one we're actually going to look at today is this one here. We want to find the product of x plus 2 over x cubed minus 27 and x squared plus 3x plus 9. Now we do have two rational expressions here. It's just that our x squared plus 3x plus 9's denominator is not written in. But it is understood to be 1. Exactly, it's understood to be 1. The hallway. Okay. So, out of all this here, our denominator of 1 will still be there when we factor. X plus 2. There is no greatest common factor between x and 2. The degree is 1, so those two are as simplified as they get. Now our x cubed minus 27 is a difference of 2 cubes. And one way we can see this is by taking the cubed root of our two terms. So if we take the cubed root of x to the third, we get x. And if we take the cubed root of 27, we get 3. Now the signs for this cubed root are going to be the same. Opposite always end on a positive note. So the same would be minus. Opposite would be plus. Always end on a positive note would be plus. So we have minus, plus, plus. Our first term we would be filling in is our x. So we'd have x. In the bigger parentheses, we'd have x squared. X to the first, and then no x term. Our other term is 3. We'd have 3. 3 to the first, and the last one is 3 squared. Well, since we're writing this here, might as well go on and simplify, finish writing this out. The denominator would be x minus 3. The bigger parentheses would be x squared plus x times 3 is 3x, and our 3 squared is 9. Okay. Questions on what we've done so far? Any questions on any of this here? Well, the denominator is x squared plus 3x plus 9 does seem familiar, yes? Well, that's also what we have here, so there's no reason to try to factor this if it's already being shared on top and bottom. Because if it's shared on top and bottom, they will cancel out. So we don't have to factor that, since it does match up with the denominator. Which means at this point, we can go on and multiply them together. So we'd have x plus 2 times x squared plus 3x plus 9 over x minus 3 times x squared plus 3x plus 9. Well, the only thing we have in common is the x squared plus 3x plus 9, leaving us with x plus 2 over x minus 2. Or not minus 2, minus 3. Questions on how we got to this here? Not too bad. I mean, the factoring, really the key to this one here was factoring our difference of 2 cubes. Once we got that, everything else simplified out. Questions on this here? We ready for the next one? Yes? Next one. I'm changing it up. We're going to do something different. We're going to do a different problem. Let's see here. I would need, let's see, 18. I would need minus, there we go. Because we could do this one here, and if we did work this one out, or if you want to work this one out later, it actually just works out to be x minus 7 over x plus 2. Because for the sum or difference of 2 here, the sum of 2 cubes, cubed root of x to the third is x. Cubed root of 8 is 2. Signs are the same for the first one, so we have x and 2. That quadratic is going to cancel with our x squared minus 2x plus 4. So it ends up being just that there. So I wanted something a little bit different, where we actually have to do some factoring in a few spots other than just the sum or difference of 2 cubes, canceling the other parts out. Now our denominator for x squared plus 3x minus 18 is 1. Yes, okay. Now the other 3 spots will factor except for 1, because 1 is as simplified as it gets. Which one of these 3 do we want to factor first? X squared minus 9. X squared minus 9 is a difference of perfect squares, which would factor 2, x plus 3, x minus 3. Difference of 2 squared, because x squared is x and x, 9 is 3 and 3, so we get x plus 3 and x minus 3. Which one do we want to look at next? X squared minus x minus 6. Since the third term is negative, our signs are opposite. Factors of x squared are x and x. Now factors of 6, 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. 2 and 3. And we can check this here. X times negative 3 is, we're right over here, negative 3x. 2 times x is positive 2x plus 2x. Gives us a middle term of negative x, which is what we wanted. So we get those here. Last one we need to factor is x squared plus 3x minus 18. Since the third term is negative, our signs are opposite. Only factors of x squared are x and x. So we do have a few factors for 18. 1 and 18. 2 and 9. 3 and 6. Which one do we want to try first? 3 and 6. And we can check this here. X times negative 6 would be negative 6x. 3 times x would be plus 3x, giving us negative 3x. So it's the correct number but wrong sign. Yeah, we can flip the numbers or the signs for this one here. And that's mainly because the numbers in front of x are both 1. If they're different than 1, then we have to change more than just the signs. Well, snip the page out. Well, the only thing we have in common on top and bottom is 1, x minus 3. Everything else stays. So we have x plus 2 times x minus 3 times x plus 6 all over x plus 3. And that's it. Questions on this here? We ready for one more? Yes. And again, I'm going to make one more that we're going to do. Yeah. Here we go. Now, just like the previous one, our denominator over here is 1. Now, out of the 3 things we need to factor, which one do we want to do first? X squared minus 49 is the difference of perfect squares, yes? So our signs will be opposite, plus and minus. We will have x and x. And 49 is, and 7. Which one do we want to do next? X squared plus 8x plus 7. Since the third term is positive, the signs are the same and match the sign of the middle term, which would be plus and plus. Factors of x squared are x and x. Factors of 7 are 1 and 7. Now we could check this here. X times 7 would be 7x. 1 times x is x, which does give us the middle term of 8x. Now this is something we could have done. We could have done this the whole time. If we look at the first set of parentheses, do we have something in common? Yeah. There's nothing that says we can't simplify at this point. Because up to this point, to make it easier so we're not simplifying multiple times throughout the steps, we wait till the end. Nothing says we have to. We can go on and cancel our x plus 7 over x plus 7 out and have one less thing to work with. Our last one, x squared plus x minus 56. Since the third term is negative, our signs are opposite. Factors of x squared are x and x. Now 56 has some factors, 1 and 56, 2 and 28. 3 does not work, but we have 4 and 14. 5 does not work, 6 does not work. Okay. 7 and 8. Which one do we want to try? 7 and 8. Which one's positive, which one's negative? 7's in the negative. 8's in the positive, and we can check to make sure. Stick with the green. X times negative 7 is negative 7x. 8 times x would be plus 8x, giving us a positive x. Well, as we've noticed, when we multiply them, we're really just pushing all the numerators together, yes? Well, shorthand ways, we can just connect the two, yes? What's in common? Because the x plus 7 and x plus 7 are in common. They're gone. X minus 7's gone, leaving us with over 1. We can write it, but we don't have to. And that is, yeah. We're ready for the next one. It is indeed. You do have the rest of the class time to work on this assignment.